General Hospital spoilers reveal that fans are asking if Sonny Corinthos and Nina Reeves' reunion might be brewing. Since Sonny hinted that the story doesn't always end the way you think, maybe Nina and Sonny could still have a chance at living happily ever after, at least as long as that lasts on soaps. Thanks to Tracy Quartermain's blackmail, Nina was forced to give an interview that trashed her former marriage to Sonny. That led to Sonny confronting Nina in GH's July 17th episode, but she quickly assured him that she hated telling all those lies. Nina insisted that her marriage to Sonny was special to her and always would be. It was nice to see Sonny be understanding about the whole situation since he knows how Tracy operates and gets that Nina wants to protect her relationship with Willow Tate. Despite all the conflict that's erupted between their children, Nina and Sonny came together for a lovely conversation. All the Willow and Michael Corinthos custody drama didn't get in the way of Sonny and Nina's lingering bond. Nina and Sonny's chemistry was still on full display as they cracked jokes and even traded advice. It's clear that Nina is dreading Willow's upcoming wedding, but Sonny suggested maybe Willow and Drew could still work out. Nina shut down that idea, but Sonny pointed out that the story doesn't always end the way you think. Between that line of dialogue and all the heartwarming moments in Sonny's latest discussion with Nina, maybe viewers should hold out hope for their future. There's no denying that a Nina and Sonny reunion would be messy. But aren't soap romances at their best when they're complicated? If Sonny and Nina do get back together somewhere down the road, there are going to be plenty of characters lining up to say it's a bad idea. Willow may have some complaints. That is, if she still has a relationship with Nina by then. Michael would no doubt object too, along with Carly Spencer and other people in Sonny's life. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers for the next 2 weeks, July 21st to August 1st, reveal that Jens Sidwell will make a stunning announcement, while Jason Morgan hunts for Britt Westbourne. Willow Tate's world also seems poised to crumble, so let's discuss all the GH drama ahead. During the week of July 24-25, Isaiah Gannon will give Portia Robinson a pep talk, while Martin Gray gives Tracy Quartermain some important updates. Laura Collins will also be on the receiving end of some unsettling info, so she may find out Marco Rios is missing, and that Sonny Corinthos is the top suspect. Sidwell will move forward with a stunning announcement. So will that tie in with surrendering to Sonny's demands? Although Sidwell doesn't want to show weakness, he'll be desperate for Marco's safe return. Of course, Sidwell is a pretty slippery character, so something tells us that he'll try to find a way to outsmart Sonny in the end. This feud is far from over now that Sonny's escalated things with this kidnapping crisis. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Baldwin will reconnect with Liesl Obrecht, who may assure Liz that she's not holding any grudges. There was a time when Liesl twisted herself into knots trying to blame Elizabeth for Britt's demise, but she doesn't feel that way anymore. As for Jason, he'll try to get on the plane that woman just boarded at the Paris airport. Jason will want to figure out if Britt somehow lived, but it doesn't look like he'll be able to get on the aircraft without a ticket. Will Jason take a later flight to Dubrovnik and try to hunt Britt or her look-alike down? Jason will refuse to give up, so it sounds like he may do some searching soon. As for Dante Falconeri and Lulu Spencer, they'll fly into a panic over some big news. That may be due to Rocco Falconeri's decision to meet with Liesl and ask Britt-related questions. Lulu and Dante may warn Rocco to steer clear of Obrecht, but he'll be determined to see her again and continue bonding. While Lucy Coe extends an invitation to someone, Ava Jerome will find herself shaken up over something. There may be an incident that allows Cody Bell to play rescuer and pull Ava even closer. Elsewhere, despite Kai Taylor's efforts to get back together with Trina Robinson, she'll refuse to forgive his betrayal of her family. Once Willow Tate and Drew Kane's wedding begins, it won't take long for the event to spiral out of control. Will Nina Reeves, Curtis Ashford, or someone else derail the festivities? Whatever the case, Willow may finally find out that Drew was sleeping with Nina while he claimed to be falling in love with her daughter. During the week of July 28th, August 1st, Willow's world may spin out in the aftermath of all the wedding mayhem. This could lead to another mental crisis for Willow. So what will she do next? There's a chance Willow might go as far as stealing the kids back from Michael Corinthos if she can corner them alone. If Drew loses Willow, you can bet he'll go off the rails. Drew is already a manipulative monster most days, but he may get even worse if his life with Willow falls apart. As for Sunny and Sidwell's conflict, more bold moves should be brewing. Now that a mob battle has erupted, there are going to be more revenge plots and power plays. General Hospital spoilers hint that Willow Tate may have a cabin hideout in her future. Will Willow sneak off with the kids after things blow up with Drew Kane? In GH's July 16th episode, Willow had an intriguing conversation with Isaiah Gannon. After Willow overheard Isaiah's phone call about all the necessary repairs, Isaiah explained that the cabin Lucky Spencer gave him was turning into a money pit. Even so, Isaiah insisted that he wanted to keep the cabin as an escape and maybe pass it down to any children he might have one day. Was there a bigger point to Isaiah and Willow's cabin discussion? What if Willow ends up using that cabin as an escape of her own at some point? Willow's life has fallen apart and is only going to get worse from here. Drew is planning on making Michael Corinthos look like an opioid addict with Portia Robinson's assistance, but that plan could backfire if it's exposed. Of course, Willow is also on the verge of finding out Drew and Nina Reeves were sleeping together behind her back once upon a time. Once Willow's relationship with Drew blows up, she may realize the kids are all she has left. Willow might find a way to snatch Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos as she makes a bold move. It wouldn't take much research for Willow to nail down the location of Isaiah's cabin. Willow might go on the run and wind up hiding there with the kids until she can figure out what to do next. It's even possible Isaiah could facilitate this since he's become a good friend who's sympathetic to Willow's struggles. Whatever the case, there might be a reason why Willow and Isaiah had that lengthy cabin-related conversation. General Hospital spoilers suggest Sasha Gilmore left Port Charles this week, with Sophia Matson's final episode taking place Friday, July 18th. However, is the soap planning a recast? All arrows seem to hint at the fact that it may not be too long before Sasha reappears in the little town, especially considering how storylines were moving. Below are 3 hints that the ABC daytime drama will gear toward a Sasha recast, sooner rather than later. 1. Sasha Gilmore's reason for leaving the very foundation of Sasha's exit storyline seems to open a door for her swift return. As it seems as if Sophia Matson has left the show for good, a recast will be required. Sasha left town after she realized someone was playing a very dangerous prank with Daisy Gilmore, and the moment the baby went missing from her crib and was found in her bassinet, the mom didn't want to take any chances with her child's safety. It's only a matter of time before Willow Tate gets found out, and when she does, this would open the door for Sasha and Daisy's return. After all, Liesl Obrecht was quick to recognize Willow's grin during the July 18th show, so she is on to Willow and her act. Sasha didn't really want to leave Port Charles, so knowing who the threat to Daisy was would allow her to come back, so that Michael Corinthos could have a relationship with his daughter. 2. Sasha and Willow's rivalry. Sasha and Willow's feud was just brewing nicely before she exited the canvas. Willow's bound to find out the truth about Drew Kane very soon, and her entire world will begin to crumble. She may even feel guilty about what she did with Daisy and realize that Drew was the reason she lost her own kids, not Michael being vindictive. To boot, it did feel as if a love triangle was brewing between Michael and his baby mamas after he came back. So if Willow learns the truth about Drew's lies and Sasha returns, the storyline between these 3 could be epic. 3. Michael and Sasha's love story. But if Michael finds out what Willow did with Daisy, would he open his heart to her again? She crossed a ton of lines while being with Drew. The challenge GH writers have with Michael Corinthos is that, as he's a part of the Quartermain, Spencer, and Corinthos families, it's hard to couple him up with leading ladies. He's related to a lot of women on canvas. Michael and Sasha had real chemistry upon his return, and even leading up to Sasha's exit. It felt as if the characters were gearing toward a romantic reunion. So is this because the show has a recast in mind that will pick up where Sophia Matson left off? Even Matson mentioned in a recent interview that she was rooting for Michael and Sasha's romantic reunion. So was she offering a recast tease? General Hospital spoilers note that while Sasha's reunion with her dad, Robert Scorpio, was sweet, she belongs in Port Charles, not some safe house. So does the show have recast plans in mind? General Hospital spoilers hint that Jack Breannan may propose to Carly Spencer and raise the romantic stakes before the secrets he's keeping about Jocelyn Jacks unravel. In GH's July 21st episode, Breannan will crack open a bottle of bubbly and enjoy a poolside celebration with Carly. It'll leave Carly wondering what the special occasion is, but Breannan may wonder if he really needs a particular reason to dote on her. However, Breannan and Carly's bonding session will be a productive one since they'll end up discussing their bright future together. Carly and Breannan will get on the same page about what they both want out of this committed relationship. Breannan may not be ready to propose right this second, but the show could strengthen his romance with Carly ahead of an engagement. These poolside scenes could help move things along and lay the groundwork for Breannan to eventually pop the question. The timing is interesting now that Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri are on to Jocelyn when it comes to WSB involvement and recent airport stunt with Vaughn. Anna also quizzed Carly about Vaughn and surprised her with the news that Jocelyn had previously been fixated on guilty Cyrus Renaud's takedown. That Cyrus reminder was important because Carly eventually needs to find out Jocelyn killed him. Breannan fueled Jocelyn's obsession by providing clues along the way. Once Jocelyn eliminated Cyrus, Breannan covered it up and talked her into becoming a WSB agent. Jocelyn has signed up for an extremely dangerous life because of Breannan, so Carly's going to be livid when all this comes out. It makes sense for the show to raise the romantic stakes a bit before that happens. Perhaps Brennan's marriage proposal could ultimately make Carly fall even harder for him. Just when Carly thinks she's going to live happily ever after, the rug may be pulled out from under her. General Hospital spoilers and updates tease that Liesl Obrecht might drop a bombshell, although it's really not so hard to believe it could be the case. Liesl can tell and has told Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, there is something very wrong with her daughter Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, and with Liesl's experience, she knows Willow's brainwashed. Neither Willow nor Drew Kane are the same people they used to be. It's easy to tell that neither Willow nor Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, are the same people they were. But for Liesl, who hasn't been in town for 2 years, it's more pronounced. Drew actually was a hero getting Liesl away from Victor Cassadine. He got her back to Port Charles in time for her to donate bone marrow to Willow, which saved her life. Drew and Jason Morgan actually worked together to save Liesl and others who were entrapped on Cassadine Island, until it was Jason's second time to be presumed dead. Something happened to Drew after Jason returned, but the change was even evident before that time, when he was released from Pentonville. Drew had been brainwashed on Cassadine Island by the use of tarot cards as triggers, but he and Jason figured it out and faked Drew's obeying the subliminal commands. Liesl, who's had years of experience in brainwashing methods and subliminal control schemes, recognizes what's happened to Willow. Heinrich Faison, aka Peter August, was the one with the cards. Peter may be dead now, but who's to say that someone else didn't learn the tarot tricks and reprogram Drew, who seems to have programmed Willow? Liesl has been keeping up with everything in Port Charles, especially when it comes to things about her family members. She heard about that Halloween when Charlotte Cassadine burned up Anna Devane's house and got herself accidentally shot. She heard that from her grandson, and she had tarot cards. Liesl states her case for Willow being brainwashed and takes appropriate measures. She's not quite as concerned over Drew, although he may need deprogramming too. First thing on the agenda is to get Willow deprogrammed and the couple broken up, as she stressed to Nina after realizing the marked change in her grandniece. No one would have had objections to old Drew having a relationship with Willow. Had Willow not been married, but then old Drew never would have become involved with someone so much younger. General Hospital spoilers bring surprising news. Nicholas Alexander Chavez has been cut from the horror movie I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now fans are asking, will this lead to his return as Spencer Cassadine on General Hospital? Chavez joined the cast of I Know What You Did Last Summer back in November 2024. Fans were thrilled when news broke he'd star alongside Lola Tung from The Summer I Turned Pretty. The duo filmed scenes meant to open the movie, but in a disappointing twist, those scenes never made it to the final cut. Director Jennifer Caton Robinson explained that despite loving the footage, it didn't align with the movie's vision. "It sucks because you don't want to do that to those actors," she admitted in a People interview. Sadly, Chavez's screen time became a casualty of creative editing. The fourth installment of the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise was supposed to mark another high point in Chavez's growing career. Even though he was only meant to appear briefly, fans were eager to see him on the big screen again. Getting cut from the final version leaves a sting, not just for Chavez, but for his loyal following. This setback has now reignited hope among soap viewers. Could this push Chavez back to daytime, where he first made his mark? General Hospital fans have never stopped hoping that Spencer Cassadine is alive and planning a return. His absence has left a noticeable void in Port Charles, and a comeback could shake things up in a big way. A recast always remains an option in soaps, but many viewers still hold out hope that Chavez will reclaim the role himself. With his movie opportunity lost, now might be the perfect time to step back into the GH spotlight. So far, there's been no official confirmation. But in the world of soaps, nothing is off the table. As of now, Chavez seems focused on building his primetime and film career. But even the most ambitious actors know the value of a solid fan base, and GH viewers have never stopped supporting him. Returning to General Hospital wouldn't just be a smart career move. It could also deliver some much-needed Cassadine chaos on screen. Do you miss Spencer Cassadine? Would you accept a recast, or is Nicholas Alexander Chavez the only Spencer for you? It's a question many are debating. Meanwhile, General Hospital spoilers tease that Cassadine drama could be brewing that might set the stage for a shocking twist involving Spencer's fate. Keep watching and hoping. With General Hospital, anything is possible. For more scoop on General Hospital and your favorite daytime stars, stick with Soap Opera Daily. Don't miss a moment of the drama. Stay tuned and see what happens next. In what was supposed to be a day of joy, Port Charles was instead rocked by the dramatic implosion of Drew Kane and Willow Tate's wedding. A moment that began as a celebration of love, but ended in chaos, revelations, and irreversible change. In the days leading up to the ceremony, Willow showed signs of inner turmoil, haunted glances, trembling hands, and an emotional distance from Drew that only her mother Nina seemed to notice. But even Nina's maternal instincts couldn't have predicted the storm about to descend. The turning point came with the shocking return of Britt Westbourne, long presumed dead. Britt's disappearance had been a strategic escape from a rogue WSB operation. Years in hiding gave her a vantage point to witness Drew's transformation from hero to manipulator. She came back armed with evidence of Drew's deception, falsified medical records, psychological manipulation, and a disturbing pattern of control over Willow's life. On the day of the wedding, Britt interrupted the ceremony, exposing Drew's betrayal in front of stunned guests. She calmly detailed how Drew had isolated Willow, manufactured medical crises to maintain emotional dependency, and used political influence to further his ambitions, all under the guise of protection and love. As Drew stood frozen, unable to deny the truth, Willow saw through the illusion. In a moment of clarity, she walked away. Bouquet abandoned, vows unspoken, and identity reclaimed. In the aftermath, Willow met with Britt privately. The two women, once distant, now stood united by survival and hard truths. Willow thanked Britt not only for exposing Drew, but for rescuing her from a life built on deception. From that meeting emerged a new alliance, one rooted in healing and advocacy. Willow resigned from all projects tied to Drew's influence and re-emerged as a public voice for emotional independence. With Michael Corinthos, she launched a coalition focused on protecting women and families from manipulation and coercion. Simultaneously, she and Britt co-founded Silent Chains, a campaign spotlighting the often invisible patterns of psychological abuse disguised as love. Meanwhile, Drew's world collapsed. Britt's evidence triggered investigations that unearthed financial fraud, coercion of medical professionals like Portia, and corruption buried beneath layers of philanthropy. His name was removed from hospital donor walls, assets frozen, and his standing within the Quartermain family swiftly diminished. Michael, no longer bound by family loyalty, publicly denounced Drew and filed for a federal audit. Through it all, Jason Morgan watched silently but purposefully. With Britt at his side, he began working to restore what had been broken, offering support to Willow and Michael, and standing as a stabilizing force in a town shaken to its core. What began as a wedding ended as a reckoning. And as Port Charles navigates the fallout, one truth remains clear. Sometimes, survival isn't about escape, it's about awakening. And for Willow, that awakening has only just begun. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Willow Tate will have a pre-wedding talk with Scout Kane, so Drew Kane's daughter will have a chance to react to her soon-to-be stepmom ahead of the nuptials. Drew and Willow have surely given Scout updates on the wedding off-screen, but Willow will want to have a deeper conversation before the big day arrives. Since Willow's making a huge commitment to Drew and their future together, that future will obviously include Scout too. Willow is hoping to get Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos back at some point, but Scout is the only kid in her life right now. Perhaps Willow will talk about how much that means to her and try to get a sense of how Scout's feeling before the ceremony. Of course, Scout has been shown bonding with Willow in the past, so it may not be too hard to keep that connection going strong. Even so, marriage is a significant step and will officially give Willow a stepmother title, so that could be a delicate topic. The loss of Sam McCall has definitely been a challenge for Scout, so Willow may promise that she'd never try to replace her real mom. Whatever the case, Willow will have some important things to say and will give Scout an opportunity to be honest about her feelings. Once this wedding talk happens, Scout may essentially give Willow her blessing to marry Drew. Although Scout might express some excitement, the nuptials won't go according to plan. Willow and Scout's heartfelt discussion could be a waste of time if this marriage doesn't actually happen. Regardless, Willow will have this one-on-one conversation with Scout on July 24th, and then the inevitable wedding disaster is coming up on July 25th. GH fans won't want to miss all the drama that's brewing for Drew, Willow, and everyone else in attendance. General Hospital sees Curtis Ashford may do Nina Reeves dirty and reveal her tawdry fling with Drew Kane Quartermain after just telling her sometimes you got to betray a friend. So, if you are current on your episodes this week, you know that Nina came to pitch Curtis on her doing a tell-all interview that would cast Sonny Corinthos in a very bad light. And of course, Curtis assumed it was Drew blackmailing her into this. And Nina said, No, it's somebody else. She's being blackmailed by more than one person. Although Drew has been blackmailing Nina and Portia Robinson and Curtis. This time, of course, it's Tracy Quartermain doing her dirty and forcing Nina into a corner because she also knows that she was banging Drew. And it really surprised Curtis when Nina said Tracy had threatened to reveal her past affair with Drew. Now he knows about it, but he doesn't think it's widespread knowledge. And it kind of is, but kind of isn't. You know, Cody Bell knows. He's sitting on it. But then again, he's being very ethical since he took that payoff from Drew, I guess. So Nina and Curtis both realize that the secrets they have are costing them a lot. And unless something changes, they're going to continue to be pushed around. And the problems all circle back to one person, Drew freaking Kane. He's the reason Curtis has to publish negative articles about Sonny and about Michael Corinthos, and why Nina has to target the ex-husband. She still loves Sonny. And even though Curtis isn't sure that his marriage is going to last, he still wants to get Portia out from under Drew's thumb if he can. So, I felt like it might be a bit of foreshadowing when Curtis told Nina, "Sometimes you need to betray a friend." And the friend Curtis betrays, well, it could be Nina. He might do it in the worst possible way. And Curtis may actually do something Nina would never forgive on General Hospital. You know, Sonny actually took it pretty well that Nina did this interview, the exclusive tell-all from Sonny's ex-wife that trashed him. And then when he asked if there was more bad news coming, Nina had to tell Sonny, well, yeah, it's going to get worse. There's a part 2 about your mental health and what happens when you're off your meds. So, Nina did tell Sonny a partial truth. She said that Tracy is blackmailing her because she wants to run Sonny out of town. And Nina says that the blackmail is about family. Sonny didn't ask a bunch of questions, But Nina obviously didn't tell Sunny this was about keeping an affair with Drew a secret, because that might change Sunny's perspective, and he might be understanding if he knew she was playing hide the salami with someone he hates. And even though Curtis and Nina are very close friends, and have been for quite a while, I think that Curtis will absolutely prioritize his family over hers. He already told Nina they need a plan to disarm Drew. And of course, Nina would love that. But she told Curtis she's got no idea how to make that happen. Then Curtis had that little flashback to Nina talking about sleeping with Drew. And of course, Nina and Drew's affair continued up until the point he was falling for Willow Tate. But once Drew slept with Willow, he didn't touch again. But that's just icky, and the whole timeline is gross. So I suspect Curtis may use Drew and Nina's sordid past against the congressman. All this dirty stuff Drew is doing to keep Willow in his life and convince her that only he can make her happy. You know, maybe Curtis thinks he can blow all that up. The thing is, if Drew got dumped and Willow was out of his life, probably the blackmail and dirty games would evaporate because Drew would have no reason to keep leveraging everyone. And so, I think Curtis' mindset is breaking up Willow and Drew would solve Curtis's problems. But if he exposes Nina's affair with Drew, 100%, Nina will wind up collateral damage. Willow would be furious with her mom, not so much for sleeping with Drew before he got involved with Willow, but keeping it hidden for so long. And Nina was still sleeping with him while she knew that Willow had this interest in him. So, there's just a lot of ick overlap. And I do think there's a pretty strong chance that Willow would forgive Drew. Maybe not. And I think it's the maybe not that Curtis is counting on too heavily because his plan could fail. Willow could absolutely forgive Drew and would dump Curtis as a friend. Now, she might lose Willow from her life, but I don't think that she would dump her fiancé and then Drew would keep on blackmailing Portia and Curtis. Nina would be probably out from under his thumb for the most part, though. I'm betting if Curtis does this, it'll backfire, and Portia and Curtis and Nina would all be the big losers in the equation. I don't think Willow would want to even look at Nina again after knowing she was sleeping with Drew behind her back and on a regular basis. And then, discouraged Willow from getting together with Drew, and she's tried to talk her out of him a bunch. So, there's just a lot of dishonesty there. And Willow may go back and question her mom's motives for doing this because Drew said he could just say Nina was jealous of Willow. There's a lot he could say. So, I think Nina Reeves's worst fear could come true soon, and it might be one of her close friends who stabs her in the back and causes her to lose her daughter. But on the bright side, her aunt Liesl Obrecht just popped back up and told Nina she can see that her life is in shambles, and Dr. O wanted to know how much of a mess she needs to clean up. And it's not too long until Liesl realizes that something has gone very wrong with Willow's life. So the question is, if Curtis decides to betray Nina and exposes her affair with Drew, how will he do it? Curtis probably can't just directly run the story in one of his publications, but he could give a tabloid tidbit on Nina and Drew to another outlet, or to that local gossip columnist. Curtis could even give an interview where he's listed as an anonymous source close to the couple, and it could be a scoop for some online website or something. It won't make Drew happy for the story to come out. But I also don't think he's overly worried, even though he did pay off Cody, because when Nina threatened in the past to tell Willow about them, Drew pushed back and said, "Go ahead, tell her. She'll forgive me, but not you." And since Willow is so thoroughly gaslit by Drew and totally sucked in by him, I do think Willow wouldn't hold it against him. And on the plus side, if Curtis does this and betrays Nina, one of his oldest friends, at least Aunt Liesl will be there to hold her hand and dry Nina's tears, because she would be absolutely humiliated, publicly outed. She would probably lose her daughter. And even if Curtis does this, I think it would knock Nina down, but not knock her out. And she would probably double down on trying to expose Drew for the sleazebag he is. As for Drew, if this story came out, I think he knows Nina wouldn't be the one behind it. And the question is, would he realize that Curtis did it? Because if it happens this way and Curtis outs Drew and Nina, and then Drew finds out Curtis is behind it, woo! I cannot imagine how bad it would get for Portia and her husband, because Drew would go absolutely nuclear. Now, I really like Curtis, and I hope he doesn't betray Nina. But with all the foreshadowing and frustrations, and no way to stop Drew, I think Curtis might feel like he's got no choice. And if you remember, the big wedding is coming at the end of the month, and that would be the perfect time for that story to break, right as the wedding's about to happen, right? I think that would be amazing. This week on General Hospital, buried secrets were uncovered, evil plans were set into motion, and loyalties were called into question. The fallout from Natalia's death continued to spread across Port Charles, while Jason and Sunny took drastic steps to protect the interests that Natalia's death had threatened. Willow and Drew escalated their political war against Michael, resulting in irreparable repercussions. Nina faced regret and blackmail, and Jason was left stunned by an unexpected event. The week began with Gen Z Sidwell pressuring Professor Dalton about the timeline of their, as yet unidentified, operation. At Natalia Ramirez's memorial, Sidwell became restless as Alexis was attempting to convince Marco that Sunny had nothing to do with Natalia's death. Jason, on the other hand, was holding Marco hostage at a hotel to protect him from both Sunny and Sidwell. At General Hospital, Willow was venting about Michael and all the past choices he and Victor had made, while Isaiah was trying to support her and Lucas, urging them to stay focused on their jobs. Michael gave Carly and Sunny an update about Sasha's plan to leave town with Daisy, which worried Sunny about the implications of threats against his granddaughter. Anna continued to deepen her suspicion of Vaughn after his background check had come back too clean. Meanwhile, Jason assured Lulu that he would stay away from Rocco, but needed her help figuring out who was responsible for smearing Sunny in press reports. Using her information about Nina's affair with Drew to blackmail the latter to get Nina to turn public opinion against Sunny, Tracy Quartermain lured Nina into reluctantly participating. At General Hospital, Willow discovered that her visitation hearing had been pushed back and blamed Sasha. She also blamed Michael for potentially taking her children away from her and moving abroad with them. After speaking with Jason, Marco's guard attempted to escape, but the attempt was uneventfully foiled. At the church, Sunny and Sidwell once again confronted one another over the abduction of Marco, with Sunny stating that the political attacks had to cease. Frustrated with Jason's refusal to provide answers, Lucas stole Jason's car and drove off. Drew threatened to remove Michael's access to the children and then went to contact Willow further, as she fiercely embraced their alliance. Jason warned Danny to say goodbye to Sasha and Daisy, indicating that he thought they were in danger. At General Hospital, Portia was pressured by Drew to falsify Michael's blood work and make it false that he was addicted to opioids. She refused, at least to begin with, to go along with Drew's plan. Meanwhile, Sasha and Nina had an emotional goodbye as Michael struggled with the idea of saying goodbye to Daisy. Curtis began to suspect Drew's targeting and attack on Michael and considered the cost of loyalty. Drew wanted to frame Michael as a danger to his children, with the hope that this would get Michael deemed an unfit parent and enable Willow to secure custody. Portia was starting to come undone as the word falsified began to sink in. Elsewhere, Nina offered to help Curtis with the media campaign about Sunny. After an embarrassing article about her marriage, Nina confided in Sunny about Tracy blackmailing her. Sunny, understanding what Tracy had over Nina, did not blame Nina, but warned her that the media spotlight was not done with her. Lulu had Sunny agree to sell off the peers for political ransom money, and Liesl reunited with Nina, meeting little Rocco. Jason took Sasha and Daisy to a safe house where Robert Scorpio greeted them. Jocelyn and Vaughn were still on an undercover assignment with the hotel suite, unable to lead them to a courier linked to Dalton and possibly tied to the WSB on General Hospital. Jocelyn almost got caught planting a tracker on the courier, but luckily, someone burst out into the hallway from another room, allowing the mission to continue. Anna had gotten the whole story of what Jocelyn had been trying to do under the covers, as she began to figure out that Jocelyn was an undercover agent. The week concluded when Jason saw a woman boarding a flight to Croatia who looked exactly like Britt Westbourne. Jason was visibly shaken. Meanwhile, back in Port Charles, Anna and Dante confirmed that Jocelyn was involved in a clandestine operation, and Carly couldn't shake the feeling that her daughter's preoccupation with taking Cyrus down was getting out of hand. At General Hospital, Portia informed Curtis about Drew's demand, and she was concerned that she could lose everything if she did not comply. Curtis cautioned her. Also at General Hospital, Willow continued to manipulate Michael with highly choreographed voicemail communications while planning with Drew. Meanwhile, Liesl began to feel suspicious about Willow's transformation and told Nina that she was concerned that something more profound was behind Willow's unusual behavior. Britt Westbourne's name has come up a lot on General Hospital lately. Rocco has always thought of Lulu Spencer and Dante Falconeri as his parents, but he recently found out that Britt gave birth to him after getting implanted with his stolen embryo. It was confirmed in June that actress Kelly Thiebaud was returning to the show. She played Britt on and off since 2012. When the actress left in 2023, she requested that Britt be killed off. The character died a hero while saving Jocelyn Jacks from the Hook serial killer. Fans have a shocking theory about her return. They think that Britt faked her own death to secretly give birth to Jason's baby. Viewers thought they saw the last of Britt when the character met her maker. So did the actress. In an interview with TV Insider about her return, she admitted she never thought she'd be back on General Hospital. "I did walk away from my last day on set thinking that I would never return," she told the outlet. After leaving the ABC soap, she moved to London. When she moved back to the US, she got in touch with the soap's executive producer, Frank Valentini, about returning. Her first air date back was on Friday, July 18th. Jason spotted someone who looked like Britt in an airport. But is it really Britt? That question is what has fans guessing. Jason pretended to be the father of Sasha's baby on General Hospital. But what if he really does have a secret baby, but with Britt? The duo went on the run together in 2021 and later had a one-night stand. Despite their brief interaction, Jason and Britt won over fans. Some even wanted Jason to rekindle the romance. But by the time Steve Burton returned as Jason, Britt was already dead. Or was she? One General Hospital fan proposed a shocking storyline idea. What if Britt got pregnant from that encounter and faked her own death to keep the baby a secret? After all, Jason's life as a mob enforcer isn't a great environment for raising kids. There's also his bestie, Carly, who hates any woman who looks at Jason twice. Jason Morgan already has 2 sons by 2 different women. He's the father of Elizabeth Weber's son, Jake, though Lucky Spencer also plays the boy's father figure. Jason had another son, Danny, with the late Sam McCall. He recently helped Sasha by pretending to be the father to keep her one-night stand with Michael a secret. The truth eventually came out. Sasha recently left town after she felt her baby's life was in danger. Britt having Jason's secret baby is definitely a soapy twist, but there's a huge hole in the theory. Britt and Jason slept together in 2021, and she died in 2023. Soap Hub and Celebrity. Dirty Laundry. Spoilers for the upcoming July 23rd, 2025 episode of General Hospital reveal that things will get interesting for the residents of Port Charles. Spoilers reveal that Jason Morgan will end up creating some issues in an attempt to have a conversation with who he thinks is Britt Westbourne. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jacks, the World Security Bureau agent, will be stunned by the power that Jack Breannan possesses. In addition to these developments, Carly Spencer will also have some unexpected surprises headed her way. Spoilers reveal that on the upcoming July 21st, 2025 episode of General Hospital, Brooke Lynn Quatermain will be shown worrying about what they are going to do in the future without Lois Cerullo being around to sell their products on camera. Lucy Coe will try to comfort Brooke, but ultimately also end up giving her some shocking news. General Hospital spoilers hint at the fact that Lucy might potentially end up blindsiding Brooke and bring Lois back into the mix. Meanwhile, Dante Falconeri and Anna Devane will end up having a conversation with each other. They will discuss details about how Jocelyn Jacks has gotten herself tangled with the inner workings of the World Security Bureau, and about how she had no idea of what she was getting into. Jocelyn Jacks, on the other hand, will receive some advice from Vaughn, who will tell her that he considers Jack Breannan to be untouchable. On General Hospital, Jocelyn will ask Vaughn about whether he has been insinuating that Jack is somebody who is capable of doing anything he wants and then getting away with it. To this, Vaughn will say yes. At the Metro Court pool, Jack Breannan will end up planning an extremely romantic day for his partner, Carly Spencer. Spoilers reveal that Carly will be a little suspicious and wonder why Breannan has suddenly been doting on her, but he will assure her that he never needs an excuse to try to make her feel special. Breannan will try his best to keep his well-kept secret regarding his knowledge of details about Jocelyn under the wraps and focus on making the day as special as he can for Carly. In addition to these developments, Jason Morgan will try his best to make sure that he stops Britt Westbourne's flight. Spoilers reveal that Jason will go over to the airport and try to get hold of the attention of an employee there. He will go over to them and say that there is a passenger on the flight with whom he urgently needs to speak to. Spoilers reveal that the airport employee will argue and say that it is already too late to try to stop the flight and deboard a passenger. Further, in the upcoming July 21st, 2025 episode of General Hospital, Jason will be shown dealing with some intense flashback memories of Britt and promise himself that he needs to make sure that he finds answers to all his questions urgently. Spoilers reveal that there will be no assurance that Britt is the real deal for Jason. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.